One of my favorite web design animated effects that I like making use of to make my sites a little bit more vivid is Parallax. Parallax effects are very easy to implement nowadays on WordPress, at least if you're using the right page builder. So let me show you how to add parallax effects using Thrive Architect and how I personally like making use of this feature. Let's dive in. Okay, before I even start explaining how to implement parallax animations on your site, let me make this very clear. If you get too excited and you start adding parallax effects to every section of your pages and every element on your page, you're going to end up with the opposite result of what you're trying to accomplish. Instead of having a good looking and engaging page, you're going to have a page that is going to look clunky, distracting, and it's going to come across as if you had no idea of what you're doing in terms of design. Hence why it's important that you learn to identify when and in which instances you should make use of parallax. Omni, which is the second companion theme that we launched for Thrive Theme Builder, comes with a lot of examples that I really like on how to subtly and nicely insert parallax effects to decorate your site. Take a look at these examples. Can you see how we understood that what is important is for people to read the content on the page and not get distracted by the animated donut? Which is why we brought down the transparency and made the speed at which the donut moves somewhat slow. Yes, the moving donut makes the section more vivid, but it doesn't distract users from concentrating on what really matters, which is the copy on the page. Okay, now let's go ahead and jump in and see how we can implement some parallax animations on our own pages. Perfect, so if you'd like to play along with Thrive Architect as you watch this video, I want you to do something for me. I want you to open up a placeholder page inside WordPress. You can just create a draft page, call it, playing with Tony or something like that. And once you've opened it up with Thrive Architect, I want you to come into this section where you can change Thrive Architect's template. Click on that little cloud icon and pick the option to start off from a pre-built landing page. And then I want you to go inside Legacy Landing Page, and I want you to scroll down to the very bottom. You're going to find this bonus deck of landing pages, open it up, and pick this typography playground template. This template is not just gorgeous, but I think it's a really cool one to play with parallax. We're going to be able to animate some really cool things, and I think it's a good one for us to just test out parallax a little bit more in depth. Great, let me give you a quick roundup of what this page looks like. As you can see, it's a page that kind of really enjoys using a lot of different layers on top of each other. Here we've got a text element behind an image of this lady, and on top of that image we've got this summer collection text element. Same thing here, we've got a bunch of different content boxes stacked up on top of each other, and these very gorgeously looking boxes. These ones are just absolutely stunning. I really love what our designers did here. Some more headlines and subheadings. And yeah, these ones are absolutely fabulous. Here we've got a bunch of different text elements stacked on top of each other that try to kind of recreate this nice looking headline. And these are just absolutely gorgeous. So anyways, you now know how to access this deck of templates. And let's start playing with them and see what we can do with parallax. All right, so I think we can start off with an easy one, right? Let's just say that we want this fashion typography or this fashion text element behind the lady to horizontally scroll as we scroll down the page. And that should be an easy one to get us started with. We're gonna make sure that we've got this text element selected in the breadcrumbs, and we're gonna come into scroll behavior and enable parallax. Let's add in a new effect, and let's do a horizontal scroll. And let's go towards the right. And let's hit apply. And let's see what that looks like. Okay, so I can see that as I scroll down, that text element is scrolling towards the right, which is great. But there's something that I'm not completely happy with, which is the fact that that text element, I want it to start a little bit more towards the left hand side of the screen. So in order to do that, we're gonna hit done. And let's go into layout and position. I wanna make sure that I, again, with that very same text element selected, I jump into advanced. And instead of having the position set to auto, let's hit relative. And let's make sure that we have it start a little bit towards the left of the screen. I think that's good enough. Now you can see that that sort of messed up the layering of our page, right? Now the fashion text element is displaying on, it's being displayed on top of the image, which we don't want. So I'm going to grab the text element and I want to compare the C indexes for the text element and the image where it's sitting on top, right? So I can see that this text element has a C index of 10 and this image has a C index of 6. So in CSS, whatever has a higher C index is going to be displayed on top or further up the top of the page. So if I come into the lady or the image of the lady and I make sure I enable a C index of, let's just say 11, boom, you can see how by having a C index that's higher than the text element that says fashion, that's already placing the image on top of that text element. And we just need to do the same thing for the other text element, right? The one that reads summer, I think it was summer presentation or something. Let's just come in here and make sure that we have enabled a C index. In this case, it's going to be 12. Boom. And now we've got that fashion text element with a C index of 10 being displayed on the back. And then in the middle, we have the image of the lady. And then we've got our summer collection just getting displayed at the very top. Let's just hit save and see what that looks like in real life. All right, so my fashion text element is being displayed in the middle of the screen, which is pretty cool. And as I scroll down, it's going to move towards the right. Really nice stuff. I could, if I wanted to, just increase the speed at which it moves. So let's just make the speed, let's make it 5. Well, let's make it 4.5 and see what that looks like. All right, and that's going a little faster, which is pretty cool. I could bring it a little bit further to the left now. Let's go into advanced, and let's just put it a little bit further to the left. And let's see what that looks like. And that's better. Yeah, really liking that. All right, let's do a couple more. In this case, we're gonna play with this letter D that's sitting here. And what I wanna try to do is, as I scroll down through the page, I want to reveal the letter D, okay? So it's gonna start off as being kind of really transparent, and as we keep on scrolling down the page, it's going to auto-reveal itself. All right, so let's scroll down and find our letter D. Let's just make sure that we've got that selected in the breadcrumbs. All right, that's our letter D. And here, let's just make sure that we have the right one selected. I think that a cool trick is, yeah, just look at the color and we can see that, that we do have indeed selected our letter D. Let's jump into scroll behavior. We're going to enable parallax. Let's add in a new effect, and it's going to be a new type of transparency effect. And let's just do, let's do fade in. We're gonna start as soon as we see that letter D, and we wanna end the effect maybe like, what, 60% down, and we can make it level 6. Let's see what that looks like. Curious. Okay, this is parallax effect number 1, and as we scroll down the page, our letter D sort of reveals itself. It's not very noticeable, so I have a feeling that if we perhaps make the effect start, actually let's have it start at 0, but yeah, let's have it end at 80%, maybe even 90%, and let's make the level even higher. Let's make it like 9. All right, let's see what that looks like. Okay, this is our parallax effect number 1 again, and as we scroll down, it sort of just fades out, and then it keeps fading in as we keep on scrolling down. And once we've reached 80% of our screen, it's fully visible. Yeah, I think I like that. All right, let's do one more. In this case, we're gonna make this A here, the awesome headline. We're gonna have the A inside this heading get shrunken down as we scroll down the page, which means that it's gonna start as being a little bit bigger than it should be. And then as we keep on scrolling down, it's going to automatically resize into its proper typography size. So let's jump into layout and position. It's gonna be scroll behavior, parallax. Let's add in a new effect, and let's do a scale effect. We're gonna scale down in this case. Yeah, let's just increase the speed if we increase the speed at which it scales, it should start off as being a little bit bigger because it's going to be able to travel a bigger distance in the same amount of time, which means that it has enough time to make itself smaller and smaller, which means that it's going to automatically start off as being bigger. Could show you by making this 10, and if I keep on increasing the speed, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. Let's actually leave it at 10, that way you can see what that looks like. All right, let's hit save, and let's see what that looks like in real life. All right, here we've got parallax number 1, parallax number 2. I think we could probably make this one a little bit more noticeable. And parallax number 3. That one is kind of really cool, isn't it? But anyways, this was just a quick example of a few parallax animations that you can add with Thrive Architect. There truly is a lot that you can do with Parallax. In all honesty, you can take it as far as your imagination and creativity allows. But yeah, I'm down in the comment section below in case you have any questions. If you found this video helpful, a big thumbs up button would be truly appreciated. And if you still don't have a license for Thrive Architect, there's a link in the description box below that you can click on to grab one today. I truly appreciate your time, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.